The Dallas Cowboys players continue to grieve following the stunning death of 24-year-old Marshawn Kneeland. Hours after news broke of Kneeland's death, Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott sent a heartfelt message about his former teammate as the star continues to raise awareness for mental health. According to Texas Department of Public Safety, Kneeland died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. "I hurt with a heavy heart today," Prescott told CBS News Texas during a November 6, 2025 interview. "I hurt for Marshawn. I hurt for his family. I hurt for his girlfriend. I hurt for every single one of my teammates. This is a pain that you don't wish upon anybody. You wish none of us had to go through this. You wish Marshawn didn't have to go through what he went through, and just thankful for each moment we have in this life. And don't take it for granted. And hug and love on those that you do have. It's okay to feel however you're feeling. And I'll tell you first and foremost, I don't always have the answers, and today's not a day that I felt like I had answers." Cowboys QB Dak Prescott lost his brother Jace to suicide in 2020. Prescott has been outspoken about supporting those who deal with mental health challenges. The Cowboys quarterback lost his brother Jace to suicide in 2020. Dak Prescott speaks publicly for the first time since learning about the passing of teammate Marshawn Kneeland. CBS Sports Texas caught up with Dak at his alma mater, Houghton High School, after a special field dedication ceremony. At CBS Sports Texas at John Arezendes at Bree Aldridge. "Honestly, a couple of days before my brother passed, I started experiencing depression," Prescott explained in a 2020 interview on In Depth with Graham Bensinger, per NBC5 DFW. "I didn't know what I was going through, to say the least, and hadn't been sleeping at all. But for one night, I sleep the best I've slept, missing 10+ calls from my brother, and giving my dad enough time to come in my bedroom and tell me what happened. So I woke up after the best night of sleep I've had in 2020 from the worst news, some of the worst news I'll ever get." Marshawn Kneeland's cause of death was ruled a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The defender was selected by the Cowboys in the second round of the 2024 NFL Draft and became a key part of Dallas' defensive line rotation this season. Police located Kneeland's body hours after Texas Department of Public Safety officers attempted to stop the vehicle he was driving for his own safety. Frisco Police Radio said around 11:45 p.m. that members of a group chat Kneeland was in received a message from him saying goodbye, The Athletic detailed on November 6. Officers attempted to directly contact Kneeland's phone at about the same time after confirming his number with his girlfriend. Based on the radio recording, officers began to narrow the search zone to an office complex just under half a mile west of the Dallas Parkway. A drone confirmed there was blood trickling from a porta-potty by the complex around 1:20 a.m., and an officer said thermal imaging showed the heat signature of someone curled up on the floor. Dak Prescott on Marshawn Kneeland's death. Triggering day for many reasons. Prescott finds himself once again searching for answers following the passing of a teammate who was dealing with mental health challenges. The Cowboys quarterback revealed that the team held a Zoom call to help process Kneeland's death. Triggering day for many reasons, on top of just knowing that this was ahead today and hard to balance my emotions today, Prescott admitted. And not a day that I have words other than I love you for friends and families and people who may be struggling. Obviously, we had a Zoom call, and a few people that spoke did an amazing job. But as I said, the lesson, it's tell that person how I feel about them when I see them. Tough moment for this team. As I said, I feel and hurt for everybody that's involved in this and Marshawn's family and loved ones. When the Dallas Cowboys made the decision to trade NFL All-Pro edge rusher to the Green Bay Packers, they also wanted to make sure Parsons didn't come back to haunt them, or quarterback Dak Prescott, in any meaningful way. According to a report from ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Cowboys and Packers agreed to a poison pill clause in the trade to prevent Parsons from playing for the defending Super Bowl champion and hated NFC East division rival Philadelphia Eagles until at least 2027. The Packers sent their 2026 and 2027 first-round picks and Pro Bowl defensive tackle Kenny Clark to the Cowboys in exchange for Parsons, who they immediately signed to a 4-year, $188 million contract extension. If Parsons were to end up with any NFC East team before 2028, It would trigger a clause that adds the Packers' 2028 first-round pick to the deal. The previously unreported condition states that if the Packers decide to trade Parsons to a team in the NFC East Division, the Eagles tried to trade for him last summer before being rebuffed. Then Green Bay would owe Dallas its 2028 first-round draft pick. Sources involved in the trade told ESPN. Schefter wrote on Sunday, November 9th. League sources said these poison pill conditions clearly and smartly were put into place to block Parsons from winding up in Philadelphia, not far from where he grew up and one day wanted to play. The poison pill conditions apply to this season and 2026, according to sources, meaning the Packers don't have a clear path to trade Parsons to another NFC East team until 2027 at the earliest. The trade also included language that, in a much less likely occurrence, prevents the Cowboys from trading Clark to any team in the NFC North. Parsons and the Packers face the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles in a marquee Monday Night Football matchup in Week 10. Blockbuster trade after contentious summer. Trading Parsons to the Packers elevated them to becoming legitimate Super Bowl contenders and seems to have relegated the Cowboys to also rans. Parsons leads the NFL in QB pressures and leads the Cowboys with 6.5 sacks. Parsons is one of only 2 players in NFL history with at least 12.0 sacks in each of his first 4 seasons, along with the late Reggie White, who started his career with the Eagles before leaving for the Packers in free agency. The trade came after a summer in which Parsons and Cowboys owner Jerry Jones went back and forth bickering publicly over his lack of a contract extension. Parsons, 26 years old, was the number 12 overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft and is a 3-time NFL All-Pro and 4-time Pro Bowler through the first 4 seasons. The Cowboys have arguably the NFL's worst defense. They're 31st out of 32 teams in yards allowed, and are 3-6-1. When there's opportunities to be aggressive for the right players, we're not going to sit on our hands, Roseman said on November 4th. You don't have great success without taking great risks. We can't be afraid to fail. I think a lot of times for you to get to the top you have to be willing to take chances that may look controversial at times. I won't live with regret. It was an eventful trade deadline for the Dallas Cowboys, who added 2 difference makers on defense. All-Pro defensive tackle Quinnen Williams from the New York Jets, along with former Bengals starting linebacker Logan Wilson. Williams, who has been named to the Pro Bowl each of his last 3 seasons, is expected to change the defensive front for Dallas upon arrival. But what might that mean for veteran DT Kenny Clark? Could he ultimately get cut in 2026? Popular opinion has pointed to Kenny Clark as the player most likely to lose long-term, Reed D. Hansen of Cowboys Wire wrote on November 5th, after the addition of Williams, adding, Clark's contract has an escape hatch after the season and would offer a smooth financial transition for the Cowboys. But Clark's exodus should by no means be seen as a foregone conclusion. His cap hits over the next 2 seasons are a manageable $21.5 million and $20 million, respectively. If he can elevate his play alongside the rest of the defense, there's no reason for the Cowboys to cut bait after the season. More on why addition of Quinnen Williams could result in the Dallas Cowboys cutting DT Kenny Clark. Clark arrived in Dallas as part of the Micah Parsons deal. A former first-round pick who had 380 tackles, 34 sacks, 47 tackles for loss, and 7 forced fumbles over 8 seasons in Green Bay, the veteran DT inked an extension with the Packers in 2024 for 3 years and $64 million. The Cowboys inherited that money when he was moved. Clark's deal has a $7.5 million roster bonus due early in the 2025 league year and an even bigger $11 million roster bonus in 2026. Long-term, it could be bad for Clark if the veteran can't bounce back this season and play up to his usual standard, Hansen also noted. Thus, the remainder of 2025 will be huge for the former Packer. More on the Cowboys' current DT's room. Considering Dallas just traded significant draft capital to get a younger, more explosive interior disruptor in Williams, and they already extended Osa Odigizua earlier in the season, Clark becomes an expensive number 3 at a position where teams usually want cost-controlled depth. Financially, moving on would make loads of sense. Because the extension was heavy on roster bonuses rather than new guarantees, releasing Clark next year would prevent big chunks of cash from hitting Dallas' 2026 books. Over the Cap's outline of his contract shows the Cowboys can avoid the $11 million 2026 trigger altogether if Clark isn't on the roster on the third day of the league year. Performance is part of it, too. Clark is a solid vet, but he's nowhere near the kind of week-to-week game wrecker Williams has been. If your interior has Williams' get-off plus Odigizwa's familiarity with the scheme, paying Clark starter money for rotational work is probably not going to happen. The NFL is, above all, a business, and few see that more clearly than Jerry Jones. Even a well-respected veteran like Clark can become a cap casualty, not because he's cooked, but because he was simply replaced by someone better.